A Swift Kick in the Ass, episode 126. Life is challenging and difficult. No one gets out alive. Time to suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for a monster-sized boot, aimed to help you get traction on personal change and get living. I am John Curran, your host. Join me as I share my journey, exploring the forces that motivate us to change and help us get through whatever life throws at us. A swift kick in the ass. Life on your terms. Welcome to another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass. This is your host, John Curran, and today's episode, Life Terms as a Tourist. So, if you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, you know that I have roots in Florida. That's where I grew up. I grew up down there during the 70s, and it was a very, interesting time to grow up. You've heard the stories from Tom and I. If you haven't, go back. Some of them are interesting. But it was the 70s, Nixon, high gas prices, inflation, but some great music and great music and great movements that promoted peace, love, and happiness. And this was a time that formed my view of the world. And I grew up in Florida. So what I saw a big difference between how the locals looked at life and the tourist mindset. Now, when you're when you're away on vacation, when you're a tourist, life really changes, right? You're away from your normal daily activities. You're spending money. You're enjoying things. Maybe you're being a little bit more frivolous with your spending because you're away on vacation, and this is kind of a special deal. You don't do this a lot. It's not really your daily life. It's not sustainable either. You can do it for a short period of time, but to do it for a long period of time, no, you really can't. Well, in Florida, when you live in paradise, you do have to create some type of sustainable lifestyle. You have to earn a living. You have to do all the other things that other people do that do not live in the land of sunshine, a land of vacation and partying and having fun and all the outdoor activities, the ocean. Did I mention the sunshine, the warmth, the beach? Florida is a great place to vacation, and I had a great time growing up down there and living down there, although I did find it a bit boring after a while. But when you live in Florida, you have to do something to put food on the table, and sometimes that does involve looking into kind of the vacationer mindset and serving the needs of the vacationers through, providing vacation rentals, maybe creating a restaurant or some type of service or, something like that. So this is a service for vacationers. And if you're a vacationer, you're like, this is great. But if you live down in Florida, this is your way of life. And this creates a lifestyle for you. So along with the boats and the fishing and the camping and the beach and, a state discount for Disney World, state resident discount for Disney World, if you live in Florida, you're building a sustainable lifestyle in paradise. So you're living on your terms. We all live on our, our terms. We all have our own terms to live with. But it's not necessarily about being rich. It's about providing a sustainable lifestyle for yourself. So think about it this way. How long can you maintain your lifestyle without having to work? Think about that for a minute. How long can you maintain your current lifestyle without having to work? Now, the longer you can do that, I guess the longer you can kind of have a vacation or lifestyle, right? Because if you're on vacation, man, you're enjoying life. You're out there, you're wearing your vacation apparel. You're just having a lot of fun. You're eating good food. You're enjoying yourself. Isn't that what life is all about? And shouldn't we all have a vacationer lifestyle or a vacationer mindset, maybe? I guess it does get boring after a while, and we do want challenges, and we do want to help and serve others. But I guess from how I grew up serving others, and it just became a part of my life and who I am. Now, I'm not going to be sitting on the porch when I retire. But Florida, as you know, has a lot of retirees. And maybe that's why I view life the way I do, because I was around a lot of retirees. And they live life on their terms. They have a fixed budget, generally speaking, and they live within that if they are smart. And they can create a hell of a life for themselves. So, maybe that's where I get it. But, as I said, life, we all have our terms that we have to live with. And it depends on where you live. What I experience here and how I live in Virginia is much different than I lived in Florida. But how I grew up in Florida does drive me to how I live today. And really, how I live today is all that really matters, because today is the only day you can take action. You can only take action in the here and now. So what really changes, I think, is our perception or our awareness of our terms. So this is how I live on my terms. My perception and my awareness is open. I examine things. I look at my terms and I try to get to know them as best as I can. When possible, I try to make these terms measurable. I look at them in measurable ways, such as, if I'm playing, I'm learning how to play guitar. I've been practicing, and I practice every day. Now, I started out just doing a minute. And it was, I have to admit, it was tough. Sometimes finding, a minute or two just to pick up my guitar and strum it or play it, it was a struggle. As I adjusted and made it more of a part of my life. That was maybe a year ago. Now I'm playing at least an hour a day. And I find that I make the time to play because the more I play, the more I want to play. So struggle in the beginning is a natural part of change, experiencing change. But the key to getting traction and actually negotiating a fair term that you can live with is making a decision and then not backing down from that decision, keeping with that decision. If I made a decision to learn how to play guitar, I wanted to play guitar better. I'm measuring it by how often I play, because I think that's key to getting better at guitar playing. I did the same thing with my finances. I examined my terms. I looked at all of my debts, and I looked at what was going out, what was coming in, and then I got very specific about what I needed to do to get out of debt. And as you're aware, I paid off several $100,000 in a period of about 2.5 years. Never, ever, ever going back there. That's a term I just won't accept. So, we have to keep living, and that's why I live on my terms, because I recognize that my terms of my life are going to change, whether I like them or not. There are things that I just can't control, but there is plenty that I can do, and I'm going to do it. Growing up in Florida, I loved it. There were times, where I didn't really feel that way. But as I look back on my childhood and my formative years, I really appreciate growing up in Florida. Not only did I have my best friend, Tom Stewart, along there with me, and he's no longer here, so that also drives me to live for him to a degree. But, it taught me the importance of living a good life and putting work in perspective and tying it into how you live your life. And, living on your terms, it doesn't mean you have to be a millionaire. Money's nice, and if you have it, I'm definitely not knocking it. Money is a tool. It helps you create opportunity. It helps give you more options, but it's certainly not everything. I've met a lot of very happy people that don't make a lot of money, but they definitely live on their terms and they live life exactly as they choose. That's what this podcast is about. I want to kick your ass and I want to get you thinking about your life. So are you living as a tourist? Are you living as a local? Think about that. I think there's a different mindset. I would really love to live a life where I could be a tourist, where I could just spend money frivolously, where I could go as I choose, where I make the world my home. I would like to do that. And I'm getting there. It's all going to take time. These are the terms that I live with. Thank you for sharing my journey along with me. I hope it provokes thought, kicks you in the ass a little bit, and keeps you moving towards a life on your terms. Until next time, this is your host, John Curran. This is your podcast, A Swift Kick in the Ass. Peace. This marks the end of another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass, placing it directly in the can. As much as I like to talk, even I have my limits. It's time to go. Catch me on the next show. For better or worse, whether you like us or not, please leave comments wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter. Visit our home on the interweb. I think you can leave me a voicemail there. You can also email me at john@aswiftkickintheass.com. It's been my extreme pleasure. I hope you got a lot out of it. I hope you got your ass moving. Until then, until the next time, I'm out of here. Peace.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous two-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass f- So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes per details.